terror, rip the blindfold off and go, no, I'm going to face this. I'm going to address this. I'm going to have courage through whatever I'm going through here. And so, Maria, I have found that when I looked at Placidus and whole signs, I had events and circumstances, because I have the same rising as you. I had events come up in both houses, but for you with whole signs, it's happening in your 5th house of children, creativity, fun, new romance, or just romance in general. And so when the full moon's happening in the 5th house, it's associated with your children, creativity, romance, and what you do for fun. A full moon in the 5th house may signal endings and culminations in these areas. A full moon occurring in your 5th could manifest as endings concerning your children. Maybe they're ending a school program or ending a job, or their job is someone gets, moves on from a position or something like that. This could include things such as finishing school, moving away, a new beginning for them in some sort, that as a result has an end of some sort. So as a 5th house, as this is the 5th house, is also the house of creativity and what we do for fun, including romance. These are other topics that may be reaching a climax or culmination in some way, perhaps the completion of an artistic project, a social event launched, or sporting event achieved. So do any of those things kind of resonate with some of the themes or events with maybe your children, or some creative projects you've been working on?
I haven't necessarily been working on any creative projects. I know my youngest son is trying to get through his head, and he's been going through some things in his head that he wants to do. Like just the other day he was talking about motorized skates, and that ideal popped up. I'm like, okay, well, you've got people with the unicycle that's motorized, you've got people with the they came up with the motorized scooter. I don't see why you can't design a pair of motorized skates, like the inline skates that you can have and use to get from point A to point B if you don't have a vehicle. And of course it'd be a whole lot less expensive than trying to keep up a car. um and then I believe my and then my youngest daughter, her and my son have been trying to get a hold of like my stuff that I had purchased to do different crafts, and they're after my stand mixer, talking about doing some baking and tag team, cooking and whatnot. So yeah, their creative sides are coming out.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times the event, people look for the event on the day of the full moon, and we know it's tomorrow morning at 10:57 or 10:56 a.m. But it usually is a couple 48 hours around it. So it's like sometimes 2 days before, the day before, or 2 days after, you'll see the events happening. And so if in the event something comes up where they feel like a door is closing and they're starting to feel distraught or discouraged about something, just know that it is because a new beginning, there's a new opportunity, and for them to step into their sort of a better version of how they want to present. Because Aries is that self-identity. It's that that the personality, the mask that we wear, like who we want to be in the world. And so a part of their identity will be stripping away to make room for a better version, is what could come up too. So yeah, that's how I would say, the intensity of this. But it seems like, again, like I've been saying, you've been doing work behind the scenes. So so what could have been coming up as usual, let's say 2-3 years ago, there was always some events with the kids or something going on, that some fire you had to put out and had to respond to. What we want and what we ask for through this work is less reaction, less reactive events, and more like proactive stuff where we're just flowing, there's ease. And so even in the areas of relationships, because that also is 5th house, it's not just the 7th house, inviting that into our circumstances, like, okay, nothing but good is coming from these tumultuous interactions with my significant other, or these whatever, the way in which we parent our kids, or we disagree with how we parent, nothing but good is coming from that, and speaking life into that too, I would say. Any other themes or areas that you feel have come up for you or you want to talk about?
No, other than just, I noticed there was a position that came open at work that I put in immediately for, which was in as a recruiter. So there's different, positions that are coming up that way. But I got to go back just a second and find, because I had found an affirmation that was just perfect. It Come here.
Mm,
And it says, I am proud of all the bad days I have survived.
mm, I like that. That's it.
Yeah.
Looking at it
And
just,
so yeah, when you were talking just then, and it made me realize that me finding coming across that one was actually perfect for this and what's going on, because without having survived the bad days, you wouldn't be able to really appreciate the good ones when they come.
right. Like look where we are now, kids, and
Yeah.
look at who I am now, as mom, and the relationship that we have now as a result of everything we've been through. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so Jupiter station direct in your third house, Mercury station direct in your 11th house. So um did you notice anything about, I'm just going to throw the houses up here,
Okay.
anything with vehicles, anything with short travels? I know you talked about your part-time gig earlier a little bit, but anything come up in those areas? um
Um.
My battery went dead this month.
mm.
So I had to get a new battery unexpectedly.
Oh
Like
yeah, so
get
what
in the
happened?
car in the
Serious.
morning. Get in the car in the morning, couldn't go.
That
Didn't go
is
nowhere.
totally Mercury retrograde. Like people I've noticed in the past, their washing machines, things will break apart, not knowing there's a bad pipe, that it was a good thing a plumber came and noticed, because it would have caused a huge leak later. Mercury retrograde will bring irritation and breakdowns in our devices, because it's trying to have you address the problem now before it becomes a bigger thing later, like an alternator or something like that. So
Mhm.
did you have any sort of things with things breaking down, technological issues during this retrograde?
Actually, I haven't. Now I know, what was it? Was it yesterday? Hang on. No, Sunday. Sunday when I went to work, the internet was down, and I had to take the Wi-Fi with me because I was taking had to do road testing. So, but before I left the building, it came back up because I was like, y'all not gonna be able to have y'all class today because I got to take the Wi-Fi with me. But
Mm,
other than that, I haven't really had too many technical issues. I know my son, the baby boy, was having a problem with his car. It was either Sunday or Monday. I think it was Sunday, and he
okay.
was fussing with his car. But he got it back home, and it evidently has been okay for the past 2 days.
Okay.
But I haven't had any technical issues that I can think of other than forgetting my watch at home just yesterday.
Also at
And
work, our app went down. Oh, sorry to cut you off, Maria.
but yeah, and I kept looking at my arm as if I could do something, because I had my Apple Watch, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm looking at my wrist, because it's not there. So I can't text anybody because I didn't have my phone on. I didn't have my phone on me, and so I couldn't text from my watch. I'm like, okay, this is one of them lessons and one of them days. It's like, okay, what did you do before modern technology?
Yeah. So it kind of slow down, right? That's when Mercury is
Yes.
stationing. That whole stationing period is wobbly, because it's like complete stop motion before the forward motion again. And so you'll notice little things like that. We even had calendar issues here at the house. I know with Raina that we share Google Calendar just to kind of know what each other has going on. And there was some calendar issues she had this morning with hers, I think, right?
Yeah, I had problems with it this morning and earlier this month.
Yeah.
And I was also trying to say that the work app, our like wait list, the software we use to page the guests through the app, went down on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mm,
That caused problems because it's how we stage the parties, letting people know their table's ready.
Yeah.
okay.
All of that. Awesome. Well, we're gonna take a quick peek at where this full moon is happening in Raina's house. I'm going to read the, the little text for it, and then we'll look at some progressions for Maria, try to do some affirmations, and any questions you guys have, like, just kind of open forum style, even for
Okay.
your own learning or whatever. So the full moon again is happening at 27 Aries, and this is huge for Raina because look, this full moon is conjunct her sun and her Rahu, her north node, and so
Ooh.
the sun the sun is our soul urge. It's our the inner expression. It really is the main, what do they say, the main purpose, right? So
Yeah.
what would you all say happens when a moon in transit conjunct somebody's sun? The full moon, rather.
Well, I guess there's a lot of release around either the Aries concepts or the emotion moon concepts,
Yeah.
right?
And on top of that, because what creates an eclipse when the north node or south node is within conjunction of a full moon and a new moon, right? So this is a personal eclipse for you. It's a personal eclipse, and it's intense because it's a full moon conjunct your sun and your north node. So it's a personal new moon solar eclipse, full moon. It's like a double.
Well, I feel like it is because, like, even me purging my personal space, cleaning under my bed, my desk, my closet, I took all of my restaurant's belongings out of my personal space, brought them to work. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like, how when you play with slime and it's like all in your finger, like I'm flinging it. It's just trying to hold on, but I'm fighting it just to transform because it's like, something's got to shake with the experience I'm having. And I feel like this is the thing that is being affected the most, and the thing that, like, I have the most control over. It's like, I actually don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like, it is earth shattering for someone with a Capricorn rising, and anyone who goes to a job, like, for you to all of a sudden take your head out of the tunnel and be like, there are other ways to do this.
Yeah. And it's almost like, because it almost sounds like a internal and external purge is going on all at the same time.
Absolutely. I have changed so much. And I don't know if it's because Pluto is the play here, Zion, and I know I had a big impactful Pluto transit, like, recently in the last few years. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I have changed a lot in my interpersonal personality, in my personal habits. I've changed a lot.
Yeah, Pluto is the planet of, so think of a dark basement. It's like a flamethrower. It's pummeling everything to ashes and then rising out of that. It destroys. It's the planet of destruction, transformation, rebirth, regeneration, renewal. Nothing can be the same. And so think of also Pluto is basements and sewers and moldy places where there's corrosion, where you have to destroy the whole thing. But from mold and things, what do we get? We get penicillin, right?
Yes.
So there's it's within the murky corrosion, you see that, oh, there's healing, there's because of this transformative experience, I'm going to be even stronger. I always think
also
of,
want to
go ahead.
say, I just want to add, like, my friendships. So I've been fortunate and blessed enough to have a lot of long-term friendships in my life. And I took a huge break from all of my friendships moving here. So over the last 3 years, I have been burning and restructuring, reconnecting, either not communicating, and now I'm communicating with a lot of close friends, and how I'm showing up in those friendships and how they even respond to me is completely different than it used to be. You know what I mean? As far as taking me seriously, being conscious of the things they say to me, respecting me, like, it is completely transformed.
Yeah. Well, a lot of Plutonian themes here, and your sun, the ruler of your sun is Mars, and so the fact that this full moon is operating under rulership of the ruler of your sun, there's just a lot of action, forward motion, and just I believe that Aries assertion is just like, nope, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. It's just a clarity, And so I do believe that this full moon conjunct your sun also will just bring a clarity around your purpose, your main purpose, and how you can go about executing it. Another thing you had mentioned previously at the last Prosperous Thinking workshop, that you kind of did an overhaul of, as a Capricorn rising, many Capricorn risings tend to like overwork themselves, overdo, and they sort of associate their success and their achievements to how much they can produce. And you
Yes.
recognize limitations this year.
Well, I mean, being a natural overachiever and doing way too much with my time. Like, everyone has always known me as a busybody, like constantly have something planned. I am not the person you can call and just hang out with that day, like just because I have a lot going on. And now I just realized, like, I'm not trying to do all that. I have been working, as a restaurant manager since I was 22. So that's almost 15 years, or it is 15 years. And that is working 55 to 60 hours a week. That's what I'm used to. That is the normal for me. And so I'm just at a point where it's like, for me to even be like, I only want to work 40 hours a week, it's just really like, what? Is that even possible? People do that?
Yeah.
And then I had signed up for 6 classes, ended up only doing 5. And now I just literally withdrew from all my classes. I'm going to retake them at a later time to replace the grade. But I just was having a collision over, like, I did not have enough energy to even follow my own personal schedule.
Yep. Well, looking at, let's talk about at the new moon in Aries, we all did our spring equinox vision boards, and we did them on Google Slides for the most part. And you did yours, and you put on a whim what you wanted to, the amount you wanted to make at the job. And then I think it was not even 2 days later, your boss offered you that, right?
Yep.
And
And it wasn't even attached to any performance review or anything. It was literally out the blue.
And so here we are now, 6 months later, full moon Aries. And what happened today?
I asked for my price at the interview, and the guy didn't bat an eye, and he's like, "Oh, that's workable. We can do that." And it's like at least it's $5,000 over the cap that was posted for the position initially.
So it tells you that as we've now come to, again, we're culminating with, we're harvesting, that the seeds you planted were to be fearless, Aries, surrounding your ability to ask for what you're worth, right?
Absolutely. And it's like, through that, I feel like, through me affirming, it's like I have to grow into the affirmation. You know what I mean? Like, I put on my Google Calendar that December 1st, I don't work at my current job. And I've had so many, really, I don't want to be so dramatic, but like earth-shattering things happen that really shook up the environment for me, that it's like, on the other side of it's making it easier to leave when it's time.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not,
very true.
because before it was like a dirty, filthy secret for me, like, not standing in my truth, not being transparent, but also not being uncomfortable to share it and just say, like, I won't be here forever, and
Yeah.
I may not be here next year.
And that's the
And
thing,
now I can say I may not even be here in 6 months or next month. You know what I mean? Like,
totally. And Capricorn rising is naturally like so loyal and want to follow the rules, the structure, that they won't be like, reckless. Like a Pisces rising, they'll come in there, they'll suck at their job, they won't care, and they'll let people know they won't be there and they don't have to work there. You know what I mean? But Capricorn is not going to do all. They're going to be like, try everything to establish order and like prove that they are
oh yeah, I'm
mature.
gonna leave it better than I found it. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Totally. That's it. And so I like that language you use. And so today you discover, like, oh wow, I it's working. I'm at another level. I'm at the next level.
I just could not believe you guys. Like, okay, first of all, the job interview I went on today was not even a job I was seeking out. So it just came up on my Indeed alert. I saw it, sparked my interest because, I'm a Capricorn, money talks. I thought, oh, they're offering more than normal people are right now. Or the industry is offering, just as a job posting. So that got my attention. Then I really wasn't urgent about applying. Then when I did apply, sometimes on Indeed, it comes with those assessments you're supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
I never even did the assessment. And then they still contacted me for an interview.
Yeah.
And then even today, when I got up and like had to get out the bed to get ready, I was like, do I even really want to go? And there was that moment where at one moment, I didn't know if I wanted to go. I didn't want to go, didn't know if I want to go. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go. You know what I mean? And then after I left there, I just cannot believe that the job I actually really want actually called me. Like, this is actually really happening.
Right. So
It was all a test.
Yes, that's what I think. I think that the universe was like, are you really going to leave this job? Because if you will leave for another job, then I'm going to give you the job you want, since you have shown me that you really will leave. Like, I'm not going to give you the job you want if you don't know if you're going to leave or not.
Yep.
I love that. I like that word test. And we talk about that a lot in the prosperous thinking. Like the next day, a toddler might offer you a wet Cheeto, right? But you after you start speaking affirmations, and it could be a simple test of your desire and willingness to receive whatever appears to be a blessing in a way that it can be translated to you. So just you will see that. And then back to even Maria with your fifth house, you probably are seeing your cubs transform and step into themselves, and they're overcoming their fear of different things in ways that you never imagined. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure go ahead.
Especially my oldest son,
Mm-hmm.
because I would have never thought he would have been in a position of sales and loving it.
Yeah.
And he had an opportunity because his former boss, which is the person that helped him get into the position, they left the company for something better for them. And he had offered him, my son, a position with the new company. And my son was, at first he was going to take it. Then he was kind of hesitant because he was like, I like what I'm doing. I'm like, and I told him, I said, look, if you enjoy what you're doing, and when you sit down and you put the numbers together, realize that you can make the same money even doing what you're doing, even though the other job seems like it's more, you can actually still make that same money doing what you're doing and enjoy what you're doing. I said, and if you sit down, because his friend's name's Mark, I said, if you sit down with Mark and tell him how you feel and what you really feel, he'll appreciate, the fact that you're being honest, and he can accept you staying and doing what it is you like doing. Because if they had offered Mark more money, he wouldn't have even left.
Mm.
And then he said, he was going back and forth within himself about it. Then when he sat down and he talked to Mark and told Mark how he felt, and he was, told him, at the end of the day, he's thought about it. He's gonna have to decline the position. He said, Mark told him, you know what? I appreciate and I respect you much more, being honest and not taking the job that you weren't sure of, or weren't sure if you were gonna like it, and staying where you are to continue to grow.
Right.
And I've seen him transforming, and the light in his eyes, when he makes a sale, and even if he's having like a slow week, realizing, okay, well, I'm gonna have these slow periods and let me see what I can do to, keep on a steady pace, because he set
Right.
goals for himself, and he's been able to, be either right at or just barely miss it. But
Yeah.
not, if he just barely misses, he still congratulates himself and still says, okay, well, I missed it by skin of my teeth this time. I'm gonna catch it next time.
Right. The confidence. I love that.
Yes.
So they, and it's kind of rubbing off on you too, because you're just in this year of being offered promotion and things like that. It simultaneously, you're probably seeing yourself take on more leadership roles or leadership experiences within your workplace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm also finding myself over the past year and a half, 2 years, of talking about like my skill set that I have, like when it comes to doing hair or doing jewelry, and the other things that I really enjoy doing. I found myself speaking out more about it. And like
Mm.
yesterday, one of my coworkers, one of her friends, is into baking and whatnot, and she had her do some banana pudding cups,
Mhm.
and it was amazing. But she said her friend didn't want anybody to know that she was the one that made them. And I told her, I'm like, I said, I'm gonna tell you something that I know you've heard and you probably said to her. I said, and something that I've learned and that I've been working on, over these past years. I said, but closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
She said, I know. I done told her. She said, matter of fact, I'm gonna get her on the phone. Can you tell her? I said, yeah, I have no problem. And I told her that, and I said, please don't hide your talents, because when you start talking about things and start, giving out samples of your work, before you know it, you're going to be hosting this event and that event, and doing what you enjoy doing and getting paid for it. And I'm like, if somebody tells you that what you're charging is too much, that means that person was not for you. They need to go elsewhere.
Right. That is part of the test too. Thank you for saying that, because yeah, the test could be like what Raina was talking about earlier, the feeling of this is a test around accepting this job, or will you really accept, will you really leave? Similarly, the test could absolutely be someone coming to you going, well, I mean, I don't really feel like I should pay for that. And you have to go, well, this is valuable, so when you're ready, if you have it, that's a part of all the testing. So yeah, I appreciate you saying that. I need to make
Yeah.
sure I
Yeah, I
bring
want to
that up.
also add, so in the middle of my Google slide, my board I made 6 months ago, I
Mhm.
have a symbol of the Aries sign, and I put I am what I say I am.
Mm.
And I feel like that really, it kind of goes along with what we're talking about here. And like, identity transformation, and also like you affirm what you are. And a lot of times we look for other people to tell us what we are. So that's why we're so insecure about it. You know what I mean? Um,
hmm
so
Yeah.
that's my ad right there.
And it's
Well,
so funny that you just said, I am what I say I am. About 8 to 10 years ago, I was with a network marketing company, and and it's still at my townhouse, and I seen it the other day. It's in a frame. It's on a plain piece of paper, but I typed it up and printed it out. And it at the top it says, I am who I say I am. And I run down a list of the things that I am,
Mm,
from mother to dreamer to um coach, all of that. And it's
yeah.
so funny that when we were talking in the last prosperous meeting about that, I said I have that written down at the house. And when I was over there the other day, because it sits by the front door, I looked at it. I said, I need to redesign this and put this on, superimpose this on a nice picture and
Mm,
hang it up.
mm,
hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's so powerful, the words that would come from our own mouths, and I think that that's a lot of our power that we have to stand in.
yeah.
Yes.
Well, before we get to the progressment, I wanted to really quickly talk about the house that Raina really, because I didn't mention this piece about when the full moon's happening in a fourth house. So the fourth house is typically associated to family, particularly your parents, your home, real estate in general, endings, culminations in those areas. So a full moon occurring in your fourth house could manifest as endings such as paying off a mortgage, moving house or country, or the completion of a real estate matter. There may also be endings in or completions in matters related to your family, particularly parents. This could manifest as an ending of types for them, such as renting, downsizing, becoming empty nesters, etc. What came to my mind was over the last couple like weeks, just the last month in this lunar cycle, um, uh, Mark has been like talking about where he wants to go to college, and just the reality that, oh my gosh, you only have a couple years left. He's going to be going off to whether he decides like MIT or whatever it is. And even more recently, more in the coming week, he's going on his first solo trip to Orlando with his father's family, right? Without you,
Mm,
like so those are themes as
Yeah.
far as this full moon is bringing up, like what is it going to look like when he is traveling the world by himself and
Mm,
going off to college. This is the feeling of, okay, how have I give him the tools to be who he is by being who
yeah.
I am, you
Yeah.
know.
It was, like the times that we are in the car is really cool to like engage in conversation with him and like kind of let him start to come into his own. It's just been interesting, to also
Yeah.
not be fearful. If you would have asked me 4 to 5 years ago, I'd have been like, well, I'm gonna go move to the city he go to college in.
Right. And you
You
said
know,
you
and
wanted
not
him to have a box. You were going to keep him in a box so he couldn't go nowhere.
listen. I just love him. I love him, and I want to just be there with him. But I am also, today actually we were talking about what type of car, because we're in traffic with the state fair traffic here. So I said, what kind of car are you gonna get? There's like this Jeep Wrangler with like no doors, those that pulled up. And I said,
Mhm.
what kind of car are you gonna have? She pointed out what kind of car on the road he wanted to have, and it was just interesting.
Nice. Well, that's beautiful. So you see your legacy, that fourth house of home, family, roots, tradition, legacy, and the things he will do with his children, riding in the car, pointing out the car that you want, and little things that he picks up from you. The making sure he's not ashy in these streets, the lotion and all
Listen,
that.
don't bring this out of this household.
So let's start to get into the progress moon, since we got another 10 minutes here. Raina, I know you felt this shift. You had to. 2 months ago, your progressed moon entered Capricorn. So you
Why are you
survived.
laughing like that?
I'm laughing because you
I
survived.
told you, Maria, I always tease Zion. I tell him there's certain type of expressions he should not do because he's reading people's charts, right? So like if he first initially look at someone's chart, he'll go, ooh, like that ain't a good sign. Right now, you just had a wicked little chuckle, like what you see? Tell me what you see.
Listen, there's one thing that makes me go, when I see a chart, and I can't even muzzle myself, is when I see that progressed moon in Scorpio. I already know. Okay. So the progressed moon just 2.5 months ago, 2 months ago, went into Capricorn. And so you would notice that, first of all, this is the sign of your rising sign, but the pressure of work. Capricorn is the workaholic sign, right? So the pressure of a plan, thinking about retirement, thinking about like how to strategize your whole life goals is what is the theme here. It's gonna, when it gets to Neptune, there's gonna be a little bit more sort of like room for bridging your dreams, bridging the things that seem like unrealistic and making them tangible. That's the beauty of watching this progressed moon hits your natal planets.
Well, that's really interesting because that is why, I want to free up my time, so that I can do the things I want to do.
Right. Well, you just, be gentle with yourself, Capricorn, right?
Well, listen, I learned right now that if I'm not gentle with myself will fall asleep at the wheel, okay? Because I was so tired and I just could not, I can't even believe that, like, what, August wasn't even that long ago, but I just started the semester and then all of a sudden I crashed and burned like so quickly. Like, what the hell just happened? Like that, I couldn't believe it.
Working 55 hours, taking 5 or 4 classes?
5 classes, yeah.
It was
and
insane.
I crashed so hard. I just like, my body was like, no, ma'am, there's no more gas. There's nothing.
Yeah.
You take a nap.
And the crazy part is it was telling you all along you weren't listening.
No.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't. I was like, we got this. Come on, you can sleep in 6 months. That's what I told Zion. I said, I've learned that I cannot sleep in 6 months. I have to sleep every night.
So that is typical Aries. You cannot tell them, they have to experience. That is the real reality of it, is that I couldn't have said it anyway. I think even Mark tried to talk you out of it when you were thinking of taking 5 classes, but it's just, they have to go through it. And now she sees, okay, you know what? I can realistically achieve my goals. And in fact, in a more efficient way.
Well, you know what? That's why I really like that song, Alicia Keys, Lesson Learned with John Myers. That's my jammy jam. But it says the lesson ain't learned till you hit the ground. And I know that all too well.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, my complexion is not good because of genetics. It's because all the brick walls I didn't smear myself against. I didn't smear it up and laid out.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I am very strong-willed and I need to be shown. And the universe showed me, like,
So Maria, you have approximately 6 months left, or less, depending on the time, if it's a little adjusted, but you got about 6 months of Scorpio left. So
November, December, January, February, March. Yep, because I think when I looked at it, it was around April time frame. I'll
So
be
the
able to go,
spring equinox.
oh, I survived.
So the next spring equinox, your vision board should be so lit, because it's just like you were talking about earlier, Raina, like your affirmations sort of have to reach sink deeper into another level of the subconscious. Like it can't, sometimes you can tell people, oh my God, listen to this song, ching, ching, ching goes money. They'll listen to it, they'll gloss over it. It won't really sink into them until later on. And so all of a sudden they planted that seed and it hits them differently. And so as you're seeing the finish line and you're seeing the light a little bit at the end of that tunnel there coming out of Scorpio, your vision board that you create in the spring equinox, you will be able to see with a perception that's a little less grim or like limiting, because Scorpio is a very limiting progression to go through. Like you
also the sleep I had was quality restorative, like really vivid dreams that had significance. And like now that I'm getting restorative sleep when I'm awake, so many like things are happening, like the universe is communicate with me in so many different ways. It's so crazy.
Yeah, totally. So you might have been missing out on messages from your dreams too, which is like, deadly for us, because there's so much healing and information that happens in our dream state. Even when the dreams don't make any sense, there are things happening to us, like the molecules in our body, our structure, and opportunities to really heal and grow through just allowing ourselves to rest. So Maria, 6 months. I mean, you gonna be like Angela, where she said, I'm ready to share my story.
Yep.
It's not I would say overall the best way to survive Scorpio is another one of the clear signs, right? Pay attention to your intuition, like trust the psychic messages and impressions you're getting. They're not going to be the unicorn gumdrop messages. They're going to be some of the warnings, right, during Scorpio. And they're just asking you to go, okay, you know what? Maybe don't go there. Maybe move this way versus that way. And you definitely had elimination, transformation. You moved across back to, Virginia, right? So huge shifting that's continuing to happen, but nobody will recognize you as as they say when you come out of Scorpio.
Oh no, it's gonna be a whole different person.
And go ahead.
And I think the thing that I realize, and I am so grateful and thankful for, is that you recognize Raina's time in Scorpio as she was, and as she was coming out and I was going in. So that helped me to be able to look and pay attention to things and know that if I had that gut feeling, stop, sit still, hold up a minute, I paid attention and I just took a step back before just lunging ahead. So that made, even though it's been a roller coaster.
I want to also point out, oh, sorry, Maria. I do want to point out though, that like during most of my Scorpio period, we did not know I was going through it. And I think that is the reason that has catapulted Zion to be so passionate. I don't want to be fear mongering to warn people, but just to advocate, shed some light, throw a lifeline, because going through it and not know you were going through it, I think it would have at least changed a lot of our experience.
For sure. It's like it's such a unique and awesome tool, like to know ahead of time, okay, I'm about to go into this cave, versus somebody just pushing you in the cave. or you just end up there, you're like, wait a minute, what happened here? And you don't know that, if you turn a certain color, a blue light on, you can see the writings on the wall during a certain time of day. You just feel more equipped. And so I'm just grateful that you are, I won't say you're leaving Scorpio unscathed, but I'm grateful that you are coming out of it with tools to help your children navigate their progressed moon and Scorpio periods. To know, like, not to get themselves into anything that they can't get themselves out of when you're in, especially when you're in Libra, so it's all good. Moving forward, opportunity, I would say, like, just all the opportunity when you get into Sagittarius, you're going to turn up.
Yeah.
We're gonna be looking for Maria.
Expansion.
We're gonna be looking for Maria with a flashlight in the daytime. Raina has traveled so much before that progressive moon entered Capricorn. At one point, she was just up and
Okay.
down, up and down. And if the
Yeah, I
pandemic
did.
didn't happen, you probably would have been, in with your
I went out of
passport
the
renewed.
country, that's for sure. I need to get that passport
For
ASAP. That's for
sure.
sure.
I do believe, Maria, you'll be able to take that family cruise, and maybe your spring equinox vision board, you will be able to add the family trip to that board without feeling like any possibility that it wouldn't happen. You will just know it's going to happen, you
Yeah.
know?
Because and it's funny because being on Pinterest a lot and looking at different money saving challenges and starting them and knowing the time frames that I can have and how much I can put away in that time frame, I see it coming
Mm,
easily.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been beautiful. So we'll do celebrating Scorpio soon here, and we're gonna do prosperous thinking part 2 in November. Let's get an affirmation from everybody. I got my I Am Everything deck. I'd like to share one with you all, but I'm gonna have maybe Raina go first. Give us an affirmation to leave with.
Well, I wanted to share my unicorn affirmation for the day because it's about gratitude. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right, so it says gratitude. Today I am grateful for all the little things. Even the big things suck. Even when big things suck, there are always plenty of little things I can at least be grateful for, like hot showers and music and the fact that humans invented the internet and
Mm,
I'm allowed to use it whenever I want to. Using fingers and thumbs to do whatever I think I want to do with them at any given moment is a blessing.
I love it. Maria, what you got for us?
I've got one that I've got had got an app, I Am, and this says I continuously push myself to learn and develop in areas of life that bring me happiness, freedom, and purpose.
I love it.
Hmm.
I've got my I Am Everything deck. It says card 22, I am transformed. I see the beauty of change. Everything I have been through transformed me into who I am today. I am so much braver. I am so much more caring. I am so much more emotionally intelligent. I am so much more open. I will continue changing and improving. I am transformed. Ashe. So go ahead and light your tea light and get your Aries full moon vibes on. I'm gonna definitely take me a salt
Oh, I'm
bath.
sorry. This is where you can take a salt bath or light a fire and release the right things on parchment paper and burn them, right?
Yeah, it's full moon.
Yes.
Full moon is about releasing. So yeah, definitely all of those things, purging in any way you need. For me, it's gonna be a salt bath. So, all right, folks,
Yeah. All righty.
take
All
care.
right.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Maria.
Thank
much.
you.
Have a great night.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.